Recording in progress.
Good morning, all.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Guys, in this lecture, we are going to discuss one more very important concept, Linux architecture. So, in this Linux architecture, we are going to discuss what is kernel, what is meant by a shell, and then what is meant by shell scripting, what are the different types of cells, and how to run a shell script. Even file system, hierarchy standard, I will explain. So the very beautiful and one more important lecture this is. Okay, in this file system or Linux architecture level, very two major important components. One is shell and another one is kernel. So these two are the what very important components in the Linux architecture.
Ram,
Yes,
Ram, sorry to disturb. Can you make it in full screen? Unable to see.
sorry, this is the full screen only.
No, we are looking like a slides.
Yeah, this is the what slides.
Okay.
Okay.
For me, it is no. Okay, fine.
Okay. What is Linux architecture? Okay, so in the Linux architecture, actually we have four major components. One is hardware, second one is kernel, and the third one is shell, and the fourth one is user. Remember, out of these four, we have very two important components, shell and kernel. See this. Let me explain here. So what are the two major components? Shell and kernel. Everyone again to understand what is shell and what is kernel. If you understand shell and kernel, then Linux is easy. So even you will familiar with what Linux commands. Okay, anyone first? What is meant by a shell? Any idea? Any idea? What is meant by a shell?
It is interface between user and kernel.
Okay, interface between user and kernel. Next, what is the role of the shell?
It is a program to read the commands or
Very good. So it is a program to read commands, input user commands. Okay. So now here, first important thing, cell is like a container. Cell is like a container. So I mean a cell container contains Linux commands or Unix commands. Like what are the commands? You know that. Like date command, pwd command, whoami, log name, and every command is available inside the what? A shell only. It is an interface between users and kernel. It is an interface between user and kernel. Generally, it is a command line interface shell. I mean, every command is offered by Linux cells only. Commands are offered by Linux cells only. Remember this point, everyone. Commands are offered by Linux cells only. So, and next, the very important point, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, the Linux cell is the what command line interface that allows users to interact with the operating systems. So, what is the meaning of this? It allows it allows users to interact with the operating system. So users allows to interact with the operating system. Actually, it is the tool used to enter commands and execute tasks. So overall, user can execute commands and can run the what scripts and everything by shell only. By shell only. So remember here the definition about a shell. The shell is a Linux command line interpreter. Shell is a Linux command line interpreter. It is an interface between users and the kernel. And in Linux, we usually mean a command line shell only. A command line shell only because Linux is a command line operating system. So majorly everyone manage the system resources and operating system activities by using commands only. So those commands you will execute by using CLI interface, which is called what? Command line interface of the shell, CLI. So the Linux shell is the what command line interface that allows users to interact with the operating system. Remember this point. This is the major point. But the default shell in the Linux operating system, which is called what? Bash. So I mean, why default shell I'm calling? Actually, in the Linux operating system, we have different types of cells. So genome is the shell name, KDA is the shell name, SH is the shell name, Bash is the shell name, KSS is the shell name, CSS and TCS is the shell name, ZSS is the shell name. So these are all of the what currently available cells in the Linux operating system. But remember everyone, in Linux or Unix environment, almost 500 plus cells are available. But remember, every shell offers Linux commands only. That's why a shell is a command line interpreter, or simply it is a one container. One container. That container contains Linux commands. Container contains Linux or Unix commands. Okay. How do you know that your current shell name? So the current shell name is echo space $0. I mean, you want to list out your Linux cells. Generally, this is the command. But in the next lecture, I will tell you how to installing the Linux operating system. But just I will execute some basic commands related to concept. So if I run etc cells, I mean this is the file. This file contains what are the available cells in the Linux operating system. So in currently in my Linux environment, SH is the cell name, bash is the cell name. So currently two cells are available. So even KSH cell is there, and even like it is called what CSH cell is there, and a Z cell is there. So we have multiple cells even in Linux. But how you know your current shell name? Echo space $0 is the command to list what is your current shell. So my current shell name is, it is called what? Bash shell only. The current shell name is bash shell. So this is the important command. How to check your Linux current shell? Echo space $0 is the what current shell name. And one more important update, where is the generally the users. So if you verify the word system slash etc slash passwd, so this is the file to verifying the what your commands, I mean your user list. So what are the users and everything to log in with what one shell name, which is called what series, it is a bash shell, it is a bash shell. So almost the cell login shell name is which is called what bash only. So this is the what user related file. But Monday onwards, I will tell you what about practicals and installation and everything. Just we need to understand what about your current shells in the Linux. So generally to list out your available cells, the command name is etc/cells is the option. But what about your current shell name? It is nothing but echo space $0 is the command. It lists your current shell name. Okay. Now coming to the point. Here, genome and KDE, these two are the what GUI interface cells. I means who will managing operating system by using GUI. I mean graphical user interface actions. So then internally the system running with these two cells. Genome is the cell name, KDE is the cell name. But who will managing the what same activities by using command line? Yes, you must be use SSL, bash shell, corn shell, ZSL or PCS, and just ZSH. So we have different cells are available in Linux environment. So now coming to the point, what is the default shell in the Linux, which is called what? Bash shell. Which is called what? Bash shell. Actually, it is an advanced shell. Bash shell is an advanced shell, so people can execute so advanced commands by using the what? Bash only. Even you can execute any shell script by using the what? Bash shell only. So every cell offers different Linux commands. Bash shell commands are different, corn shell commands are different, Z shell commands are different, C shell commands are different. So that's why in Linux environment it is called what bash shell. So if you go for like IBM AX operating system, so maybe it is called what C cell. So if you go for the what Sun Solaris operating system, so it is a what like CSSL or it is called what SSL. So every distributor of Linux operating system maintain different cells. So all are not maintain only single cell. That's why in the real environment, people are saying like bash shell scripting, like it is called what Bourne shell scripting. Do you know any idea about corn shell scripting? Do you know any idea about C shell scripting like this? People are asking like this. But majorly, everyone will ask the what? The very important shell script is bash shell scripting only. But who knows bash shell scripting? So those people easily to operate the what? The remaining scripting languages also. Okay. So actually, sir, what is mean by a shell script? I mean, shell is clear. It is one container. So that container contains Linux commands only. But what about shell scripting? So the scripting is from shell only. So shell definition is clear. What about shell scripting? So shell scripting is nothing but a series of commands within a file being executed without being compilation. A series of commands within a file being executed without being compilation is nothing but shell scripting. So let me show you what about shell scripting. Guys, every day your activity is after joining. I mean, once you log in your computer, you need to do the what some activities like we need to execute date command, pwd command, and whoami command. I mean, you need to execute 10 to 20 system performance commands every day in first hour. So why need to waste your time every day 1 hour, especially for executing these 10 or 20 commands? So self-scripting what says exactly? So time saving process. I mean, instead of individual execution command, so people can run the what one shell script. People can execute the what one script, which is called what automation like. So, how to execute a shell script? I mean, what is mean by shell script? So once again, I will say, but don't worry, I will tell you these commands after Monday. Okay? Actually, vim is the command to create a one file. So for example, my file name is script.sh. My file name is script.sh. Just assume this is the what one shell script. The script name is script.sh. Vim is a editor to create a file or to edit a file. Just assume. Okay, within the script, I want to write the word in the first line is as exclamation slash bin slash bash. Remember, what is the first line of the shell script? This is the repeated interview question. So even DevOps engineers or developers will face the what one interview question. In any shell script, can you explain what is the first line? So actually the first line will define. So the first line will define interpreter line. I mean shell executed line. Interpreter line are the what shebang line. So I mean this is the path to execute the list of commands. This is the path to execute the list of commands. I mean which commands you want to execute. Sir, I want to execute date command. I want to execute pwd command. I want to execute whoami command. I want to execute like echo command, which is called what hi is the statement like it is a printf. But no worries, I will explain each and every command. Okay, later. But now just assume this is the what one shell script. I mean the shell script what says the list of commands you will keep it one text file. Simple point. So a series of commands within a file. I mean I have specified multiple commands in a one text file. Okay, just save the file. Just save the file. So now the file is ready. What is the file name? Script.sh. So generally this is the what one script file. I mean one text file. So how to set execute permissions for this file? So we have a command chmod, then it is called what +x, then script.sh. Then what is the meaning? So now this script.sh file is a one executable file. This is the what one executable file. Remember, after creating a file, so just to set up the what permissions for this script. But what is the command to set the permissions? Chmod is the command. But no worries about chmod. We have 1 hour class is there. That time you will understand completely what is the chmod. Just this is the what one idea about shell script format. So then how to execute a script? Dot slash the script name. See this? If I run the first command output is date command output success. The second command output pwd current location. And what is the current login username? What is the printout of the your statement? So I mean in the script.sh I have specified 4 commands: date command, pwd command, whoami command, echo command. So overall 4 commands. These 4 commands are executed by this bash shell. That is the meaning of the first line. So, sir, in case, what I'm saying, in case my command is a data, actually date is the command. Instead of date command, my command name is data. It is some mistake like command not found. So, please noted here. What is the note point here? Data command is not found. But who throws the error? The shell is the what bash. So bash not recognized in the OS. There is no data command. There is no data command. So that's why each and every command is executed by your shell only. That is my point. Shells are maintain your Linux commands. So within the shell, your executed commands or scripts are available. Then only it will display the output. Otherwise, you will get an error. Command not found is the what error message. Command not found is the what error message. So these error messages are given by, it is called what bash shell. So if the command is okay, perfect. If the command is not okay, then it is called what bash command throws the what error message. Okay, some operating systems maintain the what ssl. That time sh pwd command not find. So then some commands, some operating systems maintain KSSL. Then people will get that KSS. Then it is called what pwd command not found. So ultimate shell only displays the what error message. A shell only to execute your Linux commands. That's why a shell is a one Linux container. It is an interpreter. Interpreter means what? User can execute commands from the keyboard. But internally, a cell interact with what kernel and execute your statements, your scripts, and your commands also. So that's why it is a what command line interpreter. Simple definition. A cell is a command line interpreter. So which will contain Linux commands. So each and every command will executed by shell only. But in Linux or Unix environment, we have multiple distributors, but each distributor to maintain different one shell as a default. But even in the each Linux or Unix operating system maintain multiple cells, but one shell work as a default. One cell is default in the Linux operating system. But our Linux operating system maintain what is the default shell name? It is called what? $0. Then it is called what? Bash is the what shell name. So bash shell will execute your commands. So what is the information here? Oh, user can give only bash shell instructions only. I mean, this operating system read only bash shell instructions. That's why you can write the word bash shell scripts are here. Are you noted, everyone? Okay. So remember, what is the again shell? A shell is a command line interpreter that allows users to interact with the operating system. It is the tool used to enter commands and execute tasks. So enter the commands and execute the what tasks only. So that is the meaning of the what shell in the what Linux environment. So that is called what shell scripting. Shell scripting, nothing but what? Okay, collection of commands is nothing but shell scripting. I mean, within a file, you will write the what commands only. That's what, if you know the strong knowledge of the commands, then scripting is easy. So you don't know what are the commands in the script. How can you understand the what script? So people are writing the word backup scripts. People are writing the word deployment scripts. People are writing the word like it is called what programming script. People are writing the word lambda function scripts. So not only in one area. So people will use the word different use cases, different shell scripts. So based on the use case, you will write the word different shell scripts. But you want to understand the word shell script. Definitely, Linux commands are mandatory because a script contains again a Linux commands only. Who having good knowledge on the Linux commands, those people easily to understand the what shell scripts. So overall, what is the definition about shell scripting? A shell scripting is a collection of commands. You don't know about any proper definition about shell scripting. Okay, collection of commands is nothing but shell script, or simply the official definition of the shell script. A series of commands within a file being executed without being compilation is the what shell script. Okay, so later we will discuss about shell script, just idea about what is meant by shell and how to run your what shell script in this format. Right. So what are the different types of cells in the Linux? These are the what different types of cells in the Linux environment. How to find your current shell? Echo space $0. Now, what is meant by the another important component? Kernel. So it is one more beauty. What is meant by a Linux kernel? Sir, kernel is a heart of Linux operating system. The kernel is the essential center of a computer operating system. It was sitting between shell and hardware. Shell and hardware. Okay. So what exactly a Linux kernel? The kernel is a core part of the Linux operating system that manages the system resources and provides interface between hardware and software applications. Hardware and software application. So remember, it is a core component of the operating system. First point. So every Linux kernel manages the system resources like RAM, CPU, memory, storage, hardware components, and everything is managed by kernel only. And also, kernel provides an interface between hardware and software applications. Finally, end user can access the what application by using the what kernel interaction only. So when the kernel component is not working, so your OS is unable to boot. Remember this point. That's why it is a heart of operating system. So every Linux kernel is a custom built kernel. See, you know that yesterday I told you, Red Hat is the one distributor, Ubuntu is the one distributor, SUSE Linux is the one distributor, like like Fedora is the distributor. We have multiple distributors under the Linux because every distributor designed based on the what same Linux kernel only. So that's what every kernel is a what custom built kernel, so based on the what upstream Linux mission and kernel based requirement. So when the company requirement is something, so based on the something, so people to change the what requirements and within the what kernel, that's what every Linux kernel maintain the what just like a what custom built kernel on. Okay, and remember, the another important point about kernel, the Linux kernel is the what core component of the Linux operating system. It acting as an intermediate between hardware and software. So Red Hat Linux kernel, a widely used Linux distribution, uses the Linux kernel as its foundation, customizing and extending it to meet enterprise level workloads. To meet enterprise level workloads. So this is the what heart of any Linux based operating system. So there is no kernel. I mean, there is no kernel. So no, there is no operating systems in the market. So even every operating system has a kernel. Windows has a kernel, Linux has a kernel, and even Android has a kernel. So that's what you got multiple updates in your mobiles every 3 months or 6 months. Kernel firmware updates, kernel firmware updates. You got the what multiple times. So kernel firmware updates. Even application updates are different. Kernel firmware updates are different. So you don't know kernel firmware, just go for the what your phone help option and find out the what your kernel firmware option. When the kernel firmware is updated, yes, you got the what new features in the operating system. So operating system means kernel, kernel means one operating system. So that's why kernel is a what one program within the what operating system. Kernel is a one program within the operating system. That kernel will interact with your system hardware, resources, applications, and everything. So kernel mainly coordination possible between user and hardware, user and hardware. So that's why it is a what core component of the operating system. So this is the heart of any Linux based operating system. So managing system resources, providing interfaces for hardware interaction, and handling low level activities like memory management and process management and process scheduling and all. So overall, you want to access your Linux operating system interface. You want to log in your operating system. So internally, kernel is playing very critical role. That's why it is a what important program in the what OS. So every kernel offering, see, hardware interaction and handling low-level tasks and managing system resources, and mainly it providing interfaces for the users. It is providing interfaces for the users. And what does kernel exactly? Scheduling running programs, managing hardware, managing memory, managing system security, managing supports for user programs. So even kernel will manage, it is called what? Device drivers, networking, and all components are under controlled by kernel only. That's why it is a what heart of the OS. It is the major component of the what operating system. Once kernel is corrupted, you unable to boot the what operating system. Even keyboard is not working. OS is perfect. So even memory running with low, maybe performance wise it's getting slow. So CPUs are low, even performance wise are getting slow. Even mouse is not working. No effect to what operating system. But even multiple components are attached to your OS. But when the kernel is corrupted, you unable to get the what your operating system. Okay. So these points again we will explain each and everything in the chapter ways, like how to scheduling the running programs, how to managing the hardware with commands, how to managing the what memory with commands, and how to supporting user programs, and what are the networking components, what are the network drivers, and everything we will discuss. But here my concern is, so remember, the list of values are controlled by kernel. So everything is managed by kernel only. Everything interact with what kernel. Next, what about kernel space and the user space? So again, the very beautiful two important points. One is kernel space, another one is
Users.
user space. Okay, what is meant by kernel space?
The
The
kernel
kernel
provides
provides
abstraction for
abstraction
security,
for
hardware, and
security,
internet
hardware, and internal data structures. So kernel space provides abstraction for security, hardware, and
and
internal data
data structure.
structure. Just now I told you. So kernel will provide user interfaces. Kernel will interact with the hardware. Even the security features and everything is provided by kernel only. But what about user space?
User space consists
User
of all
space
processes
consists
running
of
outside kernel.
all processes running outside the kernel. So remember, in operating system, generally every program is running under the what kernel only, under the what kernel only. So kernel will manage each and everything. But user space also is there. User space is nothing but what, where to execute the programs outside of the kernel. So I mean, your clock, even without starting your operating system, in the BIOS, clock is running. So clock is nothing but what? It is also one program. It is not interact with your kernel. It's running outside of the kernel. So then, which is called what? User space. User space consists of all processes running outside the kernel. See this. Majorly every program running inside the kernel, but some programs will execute outside of the kernel, which is called what? User space programs. So most Unix, Linux operating systems comes prepackaged with all kinds of utilities, programming languages, and graphical tools. These are user space applications. See that what are the applications, kind of utilities, programming languages, and graphic tools. These are all of the what? Running user space applications. Okay. Now the next very important point in interviews, what is mean by processes? So what is mean by a process? Guys, a process is an instance of a computer program that is currently being executed. So instance of a running program is called as a process. For example,
That is
if
currently
you
being executed.
watch the movie or running the what, listening music, or maybe you are the doing the what, modifying the resume. So everything is a what, one process. If you open the Chrome or browser, it is also one process. So a process is a program under execution, or instance of a running program is called as a what, process. So each process has
And its
its
own
own
private
private
virtual
virtual
memory
memory
space,
space or security
security
context,
content,
a
or
state,
state,
a
or a
process
process
ID
ID.
number. So Linux or Unix operating systems are process-based operating systems, but Windows is a thread-based operating system. Remember, Windows is a thread-based operating system, and Linux is a what? Process-based operating system. Process-based advantage is, if you run even one single activity, even if you execute one program, even if you can open the browser, or if you execute at least one command, so every program or every process maintain the what? Backend one ID number, which is called what? Process ID number. So people can track the what? Process activities by using the what? ID numbers. Those ID numbers are unique. So every process maintain the what? A space, security, and state of the process. That means running or stopped, or like it is called what? Suspend, or like that. And again, every process maintain the what? Process ID number. So we have a one chapter about this process management. That time we will discuss how to run the process, what are the different types of processes, what is meant by background process, what is meant by foreground process, and how to kill the process in case if you don't want to execute. So what is the no up command? So how to monitoring your Linux operating system? So one day we will discuss about this complete process management concept. But until just you need to understand what is meant by process. A process is a program under execution or instance of a running program is called as a process. User can give any input from the keyboard. It will create a what process ID for that. So that process will maintain the what one space and one security context and state of the ID and unique ID number for the process. Okay, so this is the what just like components about your Linux architecture. But remember, once again, we have only two major components in the Linux architecture. One is the shell, and the second one is the what hardware. One is the shell, and the second one is the what kernel. So these two are the what very important components. Even when will you go for interviews, people are asking about shell and kernel, no doubt. Everyone will face the what interview question about shell and kernel. What is the difference between shell and kernel? Otherwise, can you explain the two major important components in the Linux architecture? Okay, fine. So next, the another important concept, which is called what file system hierarchy standard. So what is meant by file system hierarchy standard? Guys, you have already in Windows, C drive is there, D drive is there. I mean, you have multiple drives in the Windows operating system. Already everyone working with the drives because every drive maintain your data or maybe your OS information. C drive maintain OS information. Okay, your personal information, your personal data is located in the D drive, E drive like that. I mean, you want to store the data or you want to retrieving the data in the Windows, we have multiple drives. But guys, we don't have any drive names like C drive, D drive, E drives in the Linux operating system. So what about the file system structure? I mean the file system hierarchy standard. How Linux operating system will store the what, access the what data and stores the what data. So Linux operating system uses one beautiful standard hierarchy structure. I mean one tree structure which is called what? FHS, file system hierarchy standard. So each and everything, bin, dev, etc, lib, all are the what directories, guys. I mean, in Windows terminology, these are the what folders. But Linux or Unix terminology, these are the what directories. But you can call them. I mean, you can call it directories or you can call it folders also. But I recommended please call the what directories only because in the Linux environment terminology it is a directory. So what is a directory? Directory means a folder, guys. Don't confuse. Okay. So these are all are the what directories in the Linux operating system. So these directories are automatically created when the new Linux operating system is installed. So when the new Linux operating system is installed, automatically these are all directories are created. For example, if you install your Windows operating system, automatically C drive is created based on your plan. D and E also created. Same way, in the Linux environment, we have multiple directories after installation. So bin is the directory, dev is the directory, etc is directory, lib is the directory. So like the top level working directory is called as slash directory. Somebody is calling it is a root directory. Slash directory or root directory. So what is the slash or root directory? So which is the what parent directory or root directory? It will contains so all child directories. I mean it will and every child directory is under the what parent only. That's why it is a child directory. It is a parent directory. Okay, each directory maintain different information. So that means, for example, if you go for the what C drive, what contains the what C drive? A C drive can manage complete OS information, program files, binary files, library files, variable files, log files, temporary files. You know that. everything is by default in the C drive. But in the Linux environment, the information is distributed to multiple locations. So the data is not located within the directory. It is not located within the single directory. So for example, you want to get binary files, then we can use the word bin directory. So bin directory maintain binary files. So user executable files are available under the word bin directory. So what about dev directory? Dev means it maintains device files like your keyboard, hard disk, memory, and like it is CPUs and every hardware information under the what dev directory. Dev directory contains device files information and etc maintain it is a configuration files information. Like for example, you have installed Tomcat application or you have installed Java application. Okay, sir, I need to change the word Java paths. I need to change the word some Java application requirement values. Then where is the Java related files? I mean, the Java related main file is available under the what etc directory. So etc directory maintain configuration files information. So every application, even you want to change the database settings, so come to etc directory and find your database file name and change the what settings. That's why etc is an important directory. Everyone will work on the what etc directory every day. And lib directory means it is a library files. MNT means it is a removable media working directory. So in the Windows, like MNT is like a CD DVD writer. And proc directory means system health information, like it is called what how much RAM is running, how much CPU is running. Like proc directory is nothing but what virtual memory. It will maintain current system health information. And sbin directory is nothing but super user binary files. So bin directory maintain user executable files, sbin directory maintain admin executable files. That is the difference of bin and sbin. And what about var directory, which is called what variable files? So you want to get log files information, then var is the directory. So OPT is an optional directory. So no need to like it is called what keep it the what anything because it is a third party. By default, it is an empty. Same way, USR and USR local. So these two are the what maintain user installed applications information. For example, if you install Java, if you install Firefox, if you install .NET or anything, so by default, your installed applications are available under the what USR directory. TMP means temporary files information. And the another beautiful two important directories, these two, home and root directory. I mean, root directory is a default home directory for the admin user. Remember everyone. For example, currently my Linux operating system running with username as ROM. So that's why if I run the what my current login username command is ORM. So that current login username is ROM only. So remember guys, what is the ROM user login prompt? It is called what? Dollar. Okay, let me switch the word, the another user. If I run the what sudo space su space hyphen, but later I will tell you what is this command meaning. But now if I go for the word, my current user to another user, so now see this, it is called what? Hash prompt. Remember, what is the difference between dollar and hash? So hash prompt you will get it when the user login with what root account. When the user login with root account, who is a root? So root is an admin account. Root is an admin account. He can manage everything in the what in OS. I mean it is equivalent to enterprise edition. So root can manage everything in the OS. He can access everything in the computer. So that's why it is called what root. The root user login prompt is it is called what hash only. Remember this first point. But except root account, except root. If you log in with Ram, if you log in with Raju, if you log in with Sarah or Max or Smith or any user, so you will get the what dollar prompt. So dollar is a normal user prompt and root hash is a what super user prompt. Guys, remember generally dollar account, dollar prompt is for developers, testers, like that. I mean, admin only can log in every day with root account. Admin can manage the what entire OS. That's why he can run with what root account only. Except admin, other people will log in with what their own accounts. They will get the what login prompt as dollar only. So dollar is a normal user prompt. He cannot access the what all activities. So because for creating files, for script managing scripting, for managing the programs, this just a dollar prompt is enough. But who will manage admin level activities like installation, backing up and backup the what scripts, installation of the applications, managing databases, that kind of requirement is the what root account only. But every day we will do with what normal user only, so no need the what with root account. Who will log in with root account? So admins like Linux administrators, cloud administrators, DevOps administrators, DevOps engineers will log in with what root account only. So overall, in the Linux environment, how many login prompts are there? Two login prompts are there. What are the two login prompts? One is the dollar. So dollar is for normal user prompt. Normal user prompt. And the second one is the what? Hash. So hash is the what? Super user prompt. Super user means admin user prompt. So when your prompt is dollar, you are the normal user. So when the prompt is hash, so you are the what? Admin user. These are the what two things in the what Linux environment. Okay. So by default, root is an admin and normal user path is /home directory. And finally, it is called what boot directory. So what is meant by boot directory? It looks like C drive in the Windows. So people will get the what system booting information. I mean boot directory maintain system booting information files. So these are the what file system hierarchy standards. So where is the directories and everything? So if you run ls space slash, so now it is slash is a top level working directory. Under the slash, I want to list available files and directories. See this boot, dev, bin, etc, home. All directories are by default available under the what parent of the slash. So you want to access the what even for example root directory. So generally cd is the command. So already you are working in the what current directory, but how to access the what root directory means first you can define the what your parent slash. Then we can write the what directory name root. Then only you can access. Any directory you want to access, just type the word first to parent. You can specify the word path name for the slash. From the slash only you can access. Don't leave the word. For example, if I go for the word, like it is called what sys directory. So now we cannot access the word sys. So what is the requirement? Slash, because sys is available under the slash. Dev is available under the slash. Then only you can access like this. But no worries. So Monday, I will tell you, I mean the first practical session, how to access and how to managing the what files and the directories. So this is the what actual requirement. I mean theoretical part about your Linux operating system. So yesterday and today's class. So almost theory is completed. So what about Linux operating system? Why Linux operating system? And what are the different distributors of Linux? And today, even Linux architecture and file system hierarchy standard. So the next class is Monday. So we don't have a session tomorrow. So classes will be Monday to Friday only. So Monday we will start the what? The first practical session. I mean, so theoretically everything is completed. So Monday onwards we will start the what practical session. And who are looking for so multi-cloud with DevOps, so please register and please contact them. People will get the what recorded videos and everything. And even how to register and how to access the videos. So in the chat box we have a link is there, YouTube link, just 1 minute video link is there. So how to access the videos and how to access the PDF and everything. So please watch the what that 1 minute video link is available in the chat box. So do you have any queries, guys?
Sir, can you have one weekend batch? Basically, whatever you miss, we can learn on weekend.
Sorry?
Can we have a weekend batch once only
No,
on Saturday? So that
no.
because whatever we miss in fast track, it is fine. Not like
No,
that. We will miss it all.
weekends not possible. Even I'm working, even Monday to Friday, and now weekend again means it is not possible. Okay, but I will try. So based on the what people requirement. If more people are there in the
Maybe on
weekend,
Saturday we can
then
cover on
definitely.
fast track. That is my
So that's what I'm saying. So if more people are asking in weekend, definitely I will start. But it is not possible for 1 or 2 members or 5.
others if are interested. Let me. Yeah.
So anybody interested, and please contact me. So this is my number. So in the chat box, my number is there. So please ping me.
As we are also working, sir. So it's very much. We can't concentrate that much. Okay.
Hmm.
That, that is,
Okay. In the chat box, my number is there. So like ping me on WhatsApp. Anybody interested? And like if you have any further queries, please contact. So
Ram,
this is
one more query. I mean, multi-colored with DevOps is free or paid service?
no paid classes. How it is possible? 4 months course, advanced courses with free, like it is called free course.
देखो ये एक verified PNL statement.
Okay.
Thank you.
So already
no.
people are registered with multi-cloud with DevOps. I mean, once this Linux based